How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to New Mexico State Men's Basketball News. I'm Marshall. In today's video, it's going to be the last one where I highlight some players from this past season. Then I want to move into strictly off-season news. There hasn't been a whole lot that's gone on since, the college basketball season ended last week. The portal opened. Some players have entered the portal. We haven't signed anybody just yet. Not sure who's coming back, who's all leaving. I know both Sierra Malonga and Augustine Ekway, our two centers, are in the portal. That doesn't mean that they will fully be away from NMSU. They're still on campus. I've seen them around. I'm sure they love the campus, but they're weighing their options a little bit. We haven't had a true dominant post in a while, so it would be nice if you guys can come back and, have a big impact for us, the following season, or for Augustine, for example, being a young freshman, going to be a sophomore next year for years to come. But I also wouldn't mind the idea of Hooten looking for some dominant posts with some experience. That'd be great to have as well. Today's video is not about those guys, though. Today we're talking about Anthony and Jacoby Osborne. I didn't say Anthony's last name, because it's kind of tough to say. I think I could do a great job saying it, but I do not want to embarrass myself just yet. Maybe one of these days I'll try saying it again. I think I've said it a few times, just a hard one to pronounce. Both these guys were really, really impactful for us, had great seasons overall. I've said it countless times. I think Jacoby was definitely our most improved player. I mean, it's hard to say most improved player from last year because all it was Gabe and Jae'Coby, and then Anthony technically as well. He didn't play any games. He came halfway through the season. Knew Hooten's system a little bit. Really great to have him back, and just great development overall. Anthony was one of many players in the Aggies to play in all 32 games this year. Started 26 of them, was very consistent in that role. Averaged just over 7 points and 2 rebounds a game. Shot a team high 85% from the free throw line, even a little bit better than Jamel. If there was ever a game where Jamel or Anthony weren't shooting well from the line or just missed a free throw or two, it was a game that you knew, man, this might be a long night. That's just how great of shooters they were. Anthony was a little streaky. He had his moments where he was really, really good shooting the ball, like against UNM early in the year or Highlands. But he also had moments where he wasn't shooting the greatest, toward the end of the season and stuff, especially in that tournament. I mean, the whole team didn't play that well. We talked about Jamel a couple weeks ago. He didn't play that great in that tournament. Neither did Anthony. I do believe that Anthony was our best shooter. I know a lot of people give him some hate at times because he wasn't always on. But just like any great shooter, you're going to have your off days. He had a couple air balls here and there that kind of upset Coach Hooten. I'd be there on the sidelines working the game. But he also had a lot of really good moments. Sneaky athletic as well. 6'4", can jump out of the gym. Really great player. Has some experience playing overseas, and wouldn't be surprised if we see him playing overseas for next year and for just years to come in general. I'm really glad we had him this season. I think he helped us get a lot of key wins. His best game definitely was that 20-point outing against Delaware, which the Aggies unfortunately lost 73-64 at home. Really tough deal breaker there. Shot 6 for 12 from 3, though. He had a great game overall. Missed a few threes there at the end, but he had carried all night long. Kind of got tired, put the team on his back. That was a game where, we talked about Jamel a lot. Only had 4 points, I believe, or I can't remember how many points he had that game. He just didn't play that much. So Anthony really stepped in, did a lot of great things, and did what we needed. Even though, again, we didn't have the season we wanted, still finished 16-16. And it's crazy to think that's already been over a month since the season ended. But it wasn't for Anthony, who knows where he'd be. He finished in double figure scoring 9 different times. And I think just his experience playing under Hooten really helped us out a lot. I know I talk about that all the time, but that really doesn't happen a lot. And, a lot of overchanging in college basketball now where there's not a lot of familiarity with coaches and programs. You're only there for a year and you're out. So it was nice to have a guy like Anthony who played for Hooten for 2 years, had some experience playing overseas, now with us, now done, going to be graduating. But just, very happy that he spent a year with us. Now let's talk about Jacoby, who is another very impactful player for us. Jacoby just improved a lot throughout the entire season. He started the season a few games, looked good here and there, started consistently throughout the entire year. Just had a really hard time shooting the ball. I think if he improves that three-point shooting and can get some more strength, Hooten's talked about that a lot in press conferences I've been to and just in general. And I think you can kind of see that as a fan as well. If he improves those two areas, which they're not easy improvements to make. I mean, it's really hard to put on muscle, especially when you're playing basketball all the time. It's really hard to improve a weakness, especially when you haven't really shot the ball. He shot the ball before, but he's more of a facilitator getting to the rim, can finish with these, super athletic. If he can add those two parts to his game, though, he's going to go a long way, and I think very well could be a double-double machine in Conference USA. I would really love for both Gabe Pickens and Jacoby to return to the Aggies for this next season. But I said the same thing about Jaden Harris, with him coming back after Hooten's first year where a lot of guys left. I thought there'd be a chance for him to stay long-term, but he did not, only stay for the 2 years. Both these guys, Jacoby and Osborne, have stayed here for 2 years. Seen some success, but not too much success to the point where I think they would, go to another school or go to a bigger school. I'd really like to think that those guys are staying. I know they love NMSU, but we'll just wait and see what goes on. Jacoby averaged 6 points and 5 rebounds, shot 55% from the field. His best game of the season was definitely that 12-point and 9 rebound outing, near double-double. He did have a lot of double-doubles, had a lot of double-figure scoring games, but that game against UNM was really good in the Aggies 67-63 victory at home. Good bounce-back win for them after losing to them, a couple weeks prior. That was a game that went, on a 2-game winning streak. Really good win for them, and Jacoby was a big reason for that. Just like Anthony, if it wasn't for Jacoby, have no clue where we'd be, and that's why we're talking about him right now. And that's why I think he was definitely our most improved player of the year from the first game to the 32nd game. Both these guys kind of worked hand in hand together, did a lot of great things. Jacoby would be able to find Anthony for threes. Anthony would be able to find Kobe to go into the rim. And again, there were times where Kobe kind of extended his shooting a little bit. There was times that Anthony was able to get to the rim and finish with ease. And both those guys are super athletic. Jacoby's a little more athletic, but like I said, Anthony's sneaky athletic. So there's some differences in their game. There's some similarities as well, and they kind of complement each other well, in my opinion. This seems like a really quick analysis on the two guys, but there's not much more to say. I feel like I've said everything I wanted to say. These are guys I've talked about a lot throughout the entire year. I know I've been uploading weekly, just talking about former Aggies. Like I said, this will be the last video I make. I mean, I could talk about all the players in the world, but I really wanted to talk about the ones that really impacted us the most. This is the last one I'm doing about that. Again, I want to make a video talking about some off-season moves, make some videos talking about former Aggies. If you guys have been following me on social media, or even here on the community posts on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, at NMSTayMBB News, talking about guys like Emmanuel Shamanga, Christian Cook, Teddy Allen, the list goes on. Talking about guys where they're at now, whether it's overseas somewhere, G League, trying to make the NBA, even DeJuan Gordon. There's a lot of guys we talk about. Very, very soon, though, just like last year, I really want to start talking about the team for next year and what Hooten's looking like, what he's looking at. I know that on Friday, I was at Taos Dining Hall on campus, and he was showing some recruits around. I didn't really get a good look at who they were. I'm not sure if they're players that we've already kind of talked about or recruit. New players, where it may be, and we have some freshmen coming in. Those are guys that we can definitely talk about. I think Phoenix Woodson is one of them, who's a really, really good player. I can't remember where he's from. I want to say Arizona, but that's because his name's Phoenix, but I can't remember where he's playing at now. But there's some other young guys coming in who have played at high level, high schools. And then for next year, Omar Smith is a guy that a lot of people might have forgot about. I mean, this is a guy that the coaching staff really wanted, redshirted this past year. Probably best for him just because he had so many great guards. But he's coming back, hopefully. I think that would be really good for him. Would love to see him dominate. I mean, this is a guy who scored 43 points in high school. I think all the steps, are in the right direction for this team to keep on getting better. Again, we looked at Hooten's first year, right? 13 wins. I don't think we really expected much. I thought that was a W year. It was improvement from the year prior. First year after a rebuild, not bad at all. The next year had a winning record. I think they were doing a great job. This year, though, I think we were hoping for a little more, hoping to get those 20 wins. Only got the 16. Did get a Conference USA tournament win, but still got eliminated in the quarterfinals for a third straight year. So you definitely want to see some improvement there. This isn't the WAC anymore. It's a lot tougher, and the WAC's not even a thing anymore, which is pretty sad. And again, I make the argument that I really think that if the Aggies were in the WAC these past 2 years, that they would have won the conference. Hooten's first year, the WAC was actually better than Conference USA, in my opinion. That was the last year that the WAC was really dominant. We talked about DeJuan Gordon earlier, played at UT Arlington, playing that championship game against GCU. GCU is obviously a dominant force. I really wish that, also in the Mountain West, that we had Aggies, Lobos, GCU, and UTEP. If we had all four of those teams in the same conference, then they do a lot of justice. I'm not sure if the press box at the football field is going to be part of that reason. Maybe try to get some more money, hopefully work up our facilities to get to that point. I know a lot of people are upset about that, but there's a lot to talk about in all Aggie sports, right? There's a lot of podcasts as well. Adam Young, great guy, doing podcasts with the athletics director, doing them with, head coaches. So really good stuff there. Really should go check it out, I think, if you guys would like that. I also thought about maybe interviewing Adam Young for Crimson Wire, which I've done a lot of stories for. Haven't done a whole lot of basketball stories, and that's something I'll talk about a lot. But obviously, with the season being over, kind of hard to get a lot of stories out there. That's going to close out for the video today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out.